been live, right? So since the last time we've been live for a solo rundown show, right? We done did everything with Cheeto, State of the Nation, everything in between, but a lot didn't happen since the last time I've been live solo, bro. I mean, shit, it's a whole new regime coming in this mug since the last time. And that's it. Once again, bro, Raider fan, whatever the case, bro, you're a Raider fan. Your week to week is an unknown, right? Your week to week, 1 week you could think you have a head coach. The next week you done traded all the assets and we starting over and shit. Like that's the life of a Raiders fan. But here we are, bro. You know what I mean? But you know, we done fired the coach. You know, AP's gone. We didn't talk about that at length. What we felt about how he got fired and how things were handled, right? So I already had my emotional tangent on that. So now we moving on to what coaches are we looking at now currently? Who's in the driver's seat? Okay, so looking at who's in the driver's seat right now, we got two names already that we're going to talk about. And by all intents and purposes, very good names, man. So as you look, and always, man, shout out to Prez Raiders Resistance for the graphics. Go ahead and give my dog a follow if you can. But looking, man, first names that we got this morning, right? And by all intents and purposes, bro, one of the bigger names, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, right? The request was put in for the interview. Now, as of right now, out of the two, I know that Ben Johnson is the only one as of right now. Now, y'all can correct me. I think he's the only one that has accepted the request and has something scheduled out of these two, right? So I think Ben Johnson has some scheduled on Friday with the Raiders. I think Aaron Glenn has yet to be scheduled, but the request has been made. So throughout this process, I want y'all to understand the verbiage of a lot of things that you're going to hear through the offseason. You have to work through the verbiage, right? Because that is what's going to separate whether something is factual, whether it's a lie, whether it can happen. There's a chance it can happen, whether there's a chance it can't happen, and motherfuckers are just gaining interest, right? So, for example, when you say the Raiders have requested to interview Ben Johnson. Now, what I just said was only one person has accepted the request. Throughout this process, we can request to interview anybody we wanted. Anybody we want. But it's up to that person to then accept the request, right? So now you got one of the biggest names that have already accepted it. Now now for me, right? Me personally, one part eat crow a little because I didn't even think this man would touch this or even sniff this job with a 10-foot pole, right? So then you got to eat crow a little for me, but happy as well because I'm happy as hell that at least now, does it mean we getting taken seriously? That would be the question. So I'm happy for Mark and Tom at the simple fact of it looks like they're doing it right this time, right? Looks like they're doing it right this time. But as of right now, these two, Ben Johnson's the only one that has accepted. And I think I see it. Ja, I'm with you 1,000%. Out of these two, I don't care which one is the head coach, bro. Either one, I'm good. We roll. You know what I mean? Like I'm fine with either one. But really, I want to get y'all opinion, bro. Sound off before we start going through the coaching history. For both of them, sound off. How do you feel about this news that we've requested to interview both of these coaches, and at the same time that Ben Johnson has accepted the request? Right? How y'all feel? Do you still think there's a chance that we get Ben Johnson? Now, I'm not gonna lie. I still think, just my prediction, I still think Ben Johnson ends up in Jacksonville. Right? I think that's a better situation for him. That's just me personally. Right? If I had to predict, you had to ask me, like, yeah, I think he goes to Jacksonville. Quarterback already there, right? Situation's a little different, all type of other stuff. Glenn, there's a shot at Glenn, but something tells me Glenn's gonna end up in New Orleans too. So I don't know why. I don't know. We might not get these two dudes. That if you were to ask me just off the top, gun to my head, what's the prediction? Yeah, I think Glenn goes to New Orleans, and I think Ben goes to Jacksonville. But the fact that these are the names, right? We're on track. We are on track. L11 says he's cool. We got one. Daniel Samano, he says Glenn is a bum coordinator. Okay, so that's one. Sound off. I want everybody to sound off. I'm good on Glenn. Okay. Well, number two doesn't two people not good on Aaron Glenn. Okay. Okay. Josh says I'll be happy with Ben Johnson and Robert Saleh or Pete Carroll and Robert Saleh. Yeah, 100%. We'll talk about Pete Carroll in a minute. Although it's been rumored, we haven't officially put the request. Ben Johnson giving us an interview out of courtesy. Brady effect. That's what Dominique thinks. Okay. Which, still, once again, like, I'm glad we getting it. I don't have much hope that we, like, land him. You know what I mean? I still think that there are other jobs that are available that are better suited for what he's looking for. But you never know, bro. You never know. I mean, shit, he can get in that meeting, and then they get to wowing him. They get to telling him whatever, right? Like, hey, bro, you get to do whatever you want here. You don't know how sweet it sounds when he get it. The fact, you just got to get him in the room at this point, right? Because if you look at around the NFL and all the destinations that coaches can go, we're not the most attractive. We just got to be honest with ourselves, right? We are not the most attractive job. So at this point, what the mindset is, bro, we just got to get these motherfuckers here. Accept the interview. And when you accept the interview, we about to run it down, bro. Brady about to run it down. You feel what I'm saying? Mob style. This is what I need. This is what you gonna get. X, Y, and Z. And then we're gonna see what happens there. Right? But if we look at, man, he says out of courtesy, Big Raider says, I hope whoever we hire brings in Saleh for DC. Same. I'm not gonna lie. That is my, like, if you're looking at I got other DCs, right, that I do want to look at, I take a look at, but that's the number one, bro. Like, that's the number one option right there. If you can, and I'm already hearing that he's rumored to already get some interest to go back to San Francisco, which pisses me off, which means you'd have to go ahead and snatch him up early, bro. Because he's at least, Saleh is going to get looks for defensive coordinator at the very minimum, right? At the very minimum, he's going to get defensive coordinator looks. So you're not going to be the only person on that list. We're going to have to stamp down who the head coach is quickly to go ahead and try to get him quickly. Like that. That's probably how it's going to have to be. Daniel says the nation is tired of hiring these scrub ass coaches. Hey, I'm not mad at you, bro. I'm not mad at you, which is why, after we'll kind of talk about these guys, why I'll say what I'm going to say. But let me see, man. Johnson and Hooker to LV. I don't know about no Hendon Hooker, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. I'm cool with Glenn. Okay, that's another one. I'll be fine with Glenn. I'd 100% be all right with Aaron Glenn. There might be one way you could sell him this job to Ben Johnson over the rest. The best sell, but worth a shot if you want him. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about trading up, that's the only way. The only way is to trade up, right? If you're gonna tell him that, yeah, bro, you get whatever two quarterbacks. If you like Cam, you like Shador, whatever the case, bro. If you like them, we'll trade up for him. Like that. That's just basically what you're probably gonna have to say. But let's go ahead, man. Let's start with Ben Johnson, because you know what we do here on the rundown, man. We're gonna give you the rundown off of everything, bro. We gotta get everything. We gotta talk about his history, what he's done, right, and how it stacks up, because the history does matter, right? The history does matter. So let's start with Ben Johnson, right? Going through, he's coached for 12 years, right? College, NFL, back and forth. He's been with the, university. Well, he played at the University of North Carolina, played there, of course. So if you're talking about, some ties and where you can kind of link him to, think about it. He played at North Carolina. Where did the quarterback that the Patriots just acquired come from? There would be one, right? So we just making connections right now, because at the end of the day, that's what all of these jobs are. When these head coaches are accepting these jobs, bro, like they want the best fit, the best connection. So, we gotta go ahead and see that. So there's that. Okay, that's only playing career. But as far as coaching, let's go through there. He was at Boston College after he graduated, and he was at Boston College for about 3 years as a graduate assistant. So, getting his ranks in there, whatever the case. But then getting into the NFL. 2012 was his first shot getting into the NFL with the Miami Dolphins as an offensive assistant coach. So that's 2012 was in there, was promoted to assistant quarterbacks coach as Zach Taylor, the head coach of the Bengals, was promoted to quarterbacks coach, whatever the case. So building off that, goes ahead and Ryan Tannehill has a number of records that year. This is Ryan Tannehill's rookie year. So at the same time as we're going through his coaching history, we got to look at some of the people and players he's interacted with as well on his journey, right? So this is Ryan Tannehill's rookie year. He helps Ryan Tannehill set some records as the quarterback coach. And despite that growth, the team did still stall regardless of it. The team wasn't all that good with Ryan Tannehill. But regardless of it, was with Miami all the way up until 2018, right? So bounced around to be a number of different coaches, right? He was a quarterback coach, then a tight ends coach, then a receivers coach in Miami all the way to 2018 till then he was hired at Detroit in 2020. So it was a 2-year gap between the Dolphins and the Lions. Right? 2-year gap between the Dolphins and the Lions, which it doesn't really matter, to be honest, because sometimes coaches got to take a break. Sometimes things happen, but 2-year gap. Then getting into tight ends, right? With the Lions from 2020 into now, that's where he's been. But was a tight ends coach all the way until 2020, till he became the offensive coordinator in 2022. And then now we obviously know what he's done up until there. So with Ben Johnson's history, right? It's not illustrious. It's not illustrious. So we can't sit here and shout out my guy Pharaoh, man, in the building, man. What's going on, man? We're another tandem right there of that late 50-50 show with my guy Severe, man. So salute to the guy Pharaoh in the building. I see my guy Hit Stick Stepper. What's going on, big dog? Yeah, Wild Turkey in the building too. I see y'all, man. What's going on? But if we got to be honest with ourselves, you can like Ben Johnson, whatever the case, bro, but his history is not illustrious. It's not, right? Like tight ends coach, quarterbacks coach, okay, and now offensive coordinator for 3 years. That's where you take the bulk of it, right? But it's not crazy now. But at the same time, it's a lot of experience just in the league in general, right? So a lot of experience in the league in general, being around certain things. So at least there's that. Like I said, 12 years of head coaching experience, but being in that prominent offensive coordinator role, only been about 3 years, right? Only been about 3 years. So there's that with him, but the 3 years that you've seen with him, they've been great 3 years, which is hence why everybody's ready to up and say, this is the guy, right? This is the guy. So if I was to go off resume alone, right? If you go off just resume, right, and what they've done in the past, Ben Johnson's resume isn't really all that illustrious if you compare it to a guy now. Look, like, say if I compare it to a Aaron Glenn, right? Like even Aaron Glenn, I think Aaron Glenn's thing might be a little bit more illustrious. Now let's go through his, right? And shout out Unc. I see Unc in the building, man. What's going on with you, big dog, man? Shout out Turf, man. Decided to come on through, man. And shout out Chris for Raiders with the first super chat of the evening. Appreciate it. Any coach on the Raiders list will work, but John Gruden. I think that's a fact. 100%. But if we continue to look, right, Aaron Glenn, now we're here. Now let's kind of go through his coaching history, right? And kind of what he's doing. Hold on. Aaron Glenn is 52. I did not know that. But going through what he's done. So he's coached for 13 years total, right? Of course, played. And then, was in the front office a little bit now with the coaching career. But obviously, more experience with the football and the playing side, right? Of course, was with the Texans, Cowboys, Jaguars, multiple teams, right? Saints, Jaguar, hence why another connection, right? You talk about why I think he ends up with the Saints. He played with the Saints, right? For some years. But after his playing career was over, Aaron Glenn then transitioned into front office duties, right? So he was with the front office of the Stallions, right? The Houston Stallions. And if I'm not gonna, that's a Lone Star football league right there. So sat out a few seasons after football and then joined them 2012 just to be kind of front office for them. And you know, there was that. But then went to the Jets after that, after the short stint with the Stallions or whatever the hell that was. After that, he became a pro personnel scout for the New York Jets in 2012. So scouting history, right? Which is good. You got to think, like, sometimes too, I want my coaches to have this scouting history, bro, or at least, you know, have some resemblance of searching for and acquiring players, right? I kind of want my head coach to have that background, because honestly, now it's like, you know what the hell you're looking for, right? I know you're not just blindly trusting a GM to say, all right, bro, I just get me whatever and then we'll figure it out. Like, nah, have a vision, have what type of players you're looking for, and let's go into the season like that. So, you know, you're looking at there, he had some scouting prowess there, so I like to see that. But then the coaching history, if you're looking at the coaching history, you go into it. Like I said, we started with the personnel scout, college area scout for the Jets. But after he got out of that, then he went to the Browns from 2014 to 2015 as a defensive backs and secondary coach. Both of those years. Then after that, right, another one of those Saints ties. Not only did he play for the Saints, he coached for the Saints for 5 years. He coached for the Saints for 5 years. I believe. Yep. 5 years. Coached for the Saints for 5 years. So not only did he play for him, he coached for him as well under Sean Payton. And by all intents and purposes, bro, I think that is the connection with him. But if we keep going, right, he's been the Detroit Lions coordinator since 2021. So there we go. Right, since 2021, he's been the Detroit Lions coordinator. And first year, terrible, right? 3-13 first year, terrible. 9-8 the second year, and then from then on, 12-5, 15-2. And even this year, what he's done this year is so impressive with the amount of injuries that they've had. What they did to Minnesota the other night, bro, that shit is impressive. What he did and what he's been able to do with this team and with this Lions squad, bro. So any of these two dudes, in my opinion, bro, any of these two dudes, we're fine with. We are okay. I think they both know how to, well, I say more for Aaron Glenn. I don't say both. I say more for Aaron Glenn. I think I know Aaron Glenn can lead a locker room and be able to lead 53 men and motivate 53 men. And at the same time, he's been a defensive coordinator. I see what he's doing with the schemes. He'll be able to come in and scheme it up. Now with Ben Johnson, might be a little, I don't know for sure about the leadership factor. I still reserve right to judgment with that one. I don't know about that one fully yet. I can't fully jump in. But as far as the scheme and all that other shit, of course, right? Like there's nobody left or else as far as Ben Johnson. If you're talking about offensive scheme, as far as him being, I think he's the best candidate. If you're talking about scheme wise, best candidate. But as leadership, I don't know yet. That's the one thing. That is the one thing I'm curious about with Ben Johnson that I have no idea. How is his leadership factor? That is just me. So as we continue, man, damn, remember his playing. Really? Was he? Well, he bounced around a lot, so I don't know how nice he was. Sometimes people are better as coaches than they are as than they are as players. But Taco K, man, salute. None of the top coaches are coming here. We're gonna get somebody that nobody heard of or was thinking about. Book it. Let's hope not. I think, well, you know, out of everything, Brady says he's doing this the right way. All the candidates that we have look good so far, and we're doing this early in the process. Something that we did not do, I think, for the last like 2 searches. We gave, first of all, look early in the process and give the process time to develop. I don't think we've done that at all for the last 2 head coaches searches. You waited hella late with AP last year, right? I mean, because you kind of already knew what you were doing. And then with Josh McDaniels, I think Mark Davis already had most of his mind up made. You know what I mean? Most of his mind was made up as far as what he wanted to do with Josh McDaniels and things like that. I mean, he just went through formalities, but It just seemed like he already knew what the hell he wanted to do. So what was the point in searching? So now it looks like, all right, bro, open-mindedness. Look for the best candidate. Find that. Let's just find that. Let me see what else y'all talking about, man. Shout out to everybody up in here in the chat, man. Before we go through some more news, one wants Ty Monken. Robert Saleh wants to get DC job. Call him now. Facts. Me too. Hope Ben is not another McDummy, and I think that's all of our fears. That's my fear. That's my fear. I will say that. Like, I have no doubt about the scheme. No doubt about the football shit. It's just the leadership. That's it. That's the only thing that worries me, bro. That is it.